Welcome back to the Williams ELLEBY HOWARD EASTER YouTube channel. I'm Joel and this is Chase. And today we want to cover a topic that may be useful to new parents or parents that have children under the age of 8, and that is, what does Georgia law require as far as car seats go?
Yeah, and it's a great topic, and it's a very topical topic, if you will, because every time you get in the car with a kid, a lot of times, especially when your kids get older, you need to know what the law is and what's required, right? I think we all know when it's a newborn or an infant that a car seat is required. So in Georgia specifically, the code section is OCGA, I'll look at my cheat sheet, 40-8-76, and that is actually, it's a criminal code section that talks about seatbelt law and proper car restraints, but those are the guidelines, obviously, that you need to look to when you're trying to determine what you need to do for infant car seats. So again, I'm gonna look over my cheat sheet, but an infant car seat is a newborn or to 1 year. That's kind of the window we look at. So from a newborn all the way up to 1 year, and it's 20 pounds and it needs to be rear facing. So think 20-pound infant. So newborn to 1 year within 20 pounds, rear facing, okay?
In the back seat.
In the back seat, absolutely. And for the most part, it needs to be almost always in the back seat till we get a little bit later on in the life of an infant or a child. So yeah.
So the next stage is when your child is 1 to 3 years of age and they're greater than 20 pounds, then you can do a forward-facing seat, but it still needs to be the seat with the straps that come over the shoulders. They still need to be in the back seat.
Right. And for all of the different, I guess, time frames we're going to talk about, these are just kind of the bare minimums, right? It's always going to be very specific to your child, to the needs and things like that. I've had friends who had rear-facing for much longer. So it's very specific to the child and to the family needs and things like that. Okay. So then the next is going to be that sort of 4 to 8 year mark, where it's a booster seat, right? The booster seat is kind of what you think of that helps lift the kid up or boost them up so that the seatbelt sits properly. A lot of times what you'll see in addition to the booster seat is maybe the strap that goes along, that's more padding, or the strap that goes along the shoulder. That's also more padding. And this too is going to be sort of weight dependent, right? It's typically between 40 and 80 pounds with the booster seat. And again, going back to sort of the rear car or the car seat, whether you're front facing, rear facing, booster seats obviously need to be in the back seat as well. But how long you keep a kid in the booster seat is going to be very specific to you.
It's really going to depend on their height, right? So once they're taller than 4'9", then you can move them into a regular seatbelt. But if they're 4'9" and under 8 years of age, you need to have them in that booster seat to avoid getting a citation, because cops in Georgia, in some states, they have to, if they're going to cite you for having a kid in an improper restraint system, then they have to pull you over for some other violation. In Georgia, if a cop sees you with a child in the car and he or she is not in a proper car seat, then they can pull you over and give you a citation just for that. But it's even more important that you do it for the safety of your kid.
Absolutely, right.
Because not only is it a criminal statute, but we do personal injury law. And if somebody hits you and you're in a wreck and your child's not properly restrained and they're hurt, then it's going to be a rough day when the defense or the insurance company comes back and says, well, yeah, we might have caused this wreck, or the child wouldn't have gotten hurt if mom had the child properly restrained in accordance with Georgia law. So it's super important, not only for the health of your child, but if that day comes where you have to file a personal injury claim to avoid that defense that could be raised against you. Now, there are exceptions to this law. They're very few and far between, and they usually apply to just older vehicles. So, for example, if a child weighs at least 40 pounds and they're in a car that doesn't have a shoulder-type seatbelt, then they can be secured with just a lap belt, but it has to be when they're not available. Or if you're in a car that's got a limited number of seatbelts with the shoulder strap, and all of the other shoulder straps are being used by children, then the child can be restrained by a lap belt alone. But generally, that's what's required in the state of Georgia. And do be aware that if the car seat is not properly installed and you're pulled over and the cop realizes it, they can issue a citation for that too, which is super important because according to the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration, although most people have car seats in and they put their kids in a car seat, 8 out of 10 of those are installed improperly.
And I believe it. And so that's kind of harkens back to when my kids were little. I'll never forget, you can actually go to the local fire department and take your car seat over there, and they will show you how to properly install the car seat, which I think is a great service for new parents, especially so you can see what it's like, right? I mean, a lot of times you'll buy the car seat and you'll have the instructions and things like that. But if you've never done it before and you're a new parent, you're going to have no clue when you start pulling this strap out, this strap, where does this go? And of course, it comes with all the other anxieties of being a new parent. You're like, well, now I got to get the dang car seat put in correctly. So have someone help you. Go to the fire department. You can watch YouTube videos as well, just like you're watching this YouTube video. But getting that extra, help is going to go a long way. And another thing I want to add too, because this always comes up too, what we're talking about is sort of like the state minimum for criminal culpability with, car seat restraints and things like that. You always get the question, especially when kids start to get older, well, dang, how long you didn't keep them in a booster seat? Because to some degree, once they get past a certain height and weight, it's not required. And the safety, might not necessarily be as important because they're already big enough and tall enough, but sometimes parents like to keep them on there. One thing actually a pediatrician told me, it really boils down to, at that point, what the maturity level is of the kid. You want to make sure that they can sit properly with the seatbelt on properly and not be wiggling around and have it, whatever which way. So that's another thing to consider, is the maturity of the kid, whoever it is that's in the back seat.
Yep. So, but all in all, remember, in Georgia, at least, it comes down to the age of the child, the weight of the child, and sometimes the height of the child. But if you really want to dig deep into it and read the law itself, it's OCGA 40-8-76, and it'll lay it out there for you, the law itself, as well as the exceptions, and you can read it for yourself instead of just listening to us.
Right.
But congratulations if you are welcoming a new child into your family, and congratulations on watching this video if you're trying to make sure you comply with the law and are not cited for something that you are unaware of. But thanks for spending time with us today. If this video has been helpful, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, we will see you next week. As personal injury lawyers, we love what we do, and we're happy to share the experience we've gained in personal injury law. To help our family, friends, and YouTube subscribers, we've shared over 300 personal injury videos covering various injury topics. So if you'd like to gain more knowledge that may help protect yourself or a loved one when you're on the roads or out in public, check out our channel or view our playlist of shorts for quick personal injury tips.
Steve